Welcome back to the next episode of the Mass Business Podcast. My name is Matt Ward. I am your esteemed host, and I am so excited to bring you an awesome guest today, a good friend of mine. But before we get to that, I want to remind you that I've got 2 books out. That's right, 2 books regarding referrals and business ownership. The first one came out in 2018, more word-of-mouth referrals, lifelong customers, and raving fans. You can find the link to Amazon right in the show notes, the website, the social media posts, and the link and the description on YouTube. And don't forget about the high five effect, how to do business with people who bring you joy, endorsed by Mike Michalowicz, the author of Profit First. This book came out in October of 2021. I believe it to be my life's work. Why should you be doing business and hanging out with people you just don't get along with? So let's just think about high-fiving everybody, COVID or not. Now, today's episode is episode 9. I'm so excited to bring you my guest, Julie Migliacci. She has over 17 years of high-touch customer service and event planning under her belt. There isn't an event that she hasn't planned before, from large celebrity fundraisers to virtual conferences to even premier cooking shows. She's always up for a new challenge and creating unique experiences for her clients and her guests. Hailing from France, Julie has lived in 4 countries and considers herself a global citizen. She currently resides in Boston, Massachusetts, and is always looking for an opportunity to jump on a plane and do something new. Now, something you need to know about Julie, if left on a deserted island, Julie would bring her sourdough starter named Steve and her cats. I'm excited to share this episode with you. It's going to be a great one. Are you ready? Let's go.
High five the world. I'm feeling all right. High five the world. Yeah.
Welcome to the Mass Business Podcast, where small business owners, also known as risk takers, share their stories about the growth of their business and themselves. Our interviews and our content is focused on growing a small business and understanding networking and referrals. I say it all the time, and I'll say it again today. You never know where your next referral will come from. Hey, Julie. Thanks for joining us on the podcast.
How are you doing today?
It's really, really good. It's going to be a great one. Now, I know what you do, but I'm sure our listeners on their favorite podcast channel or even our viewers over on YouTube have no real idea what Revent Consulting is. So why don't you just take 30 seconds and explain sort of in simple terms what it is you do at Revent Consulting.
Sure. I mean, I thought we were world famous, but apparently not. Revent, we are a virtual event planning company. So we help clients execute and schedule virtual events. And we really specialize in the hybrid format. So how do you do an event and do a full virtual as well as a full in-person event successfully, where the web audience isn't just watching television, they're also having an impactful and fun event. So we've been doing this for about 15 years and been Revent Consulting as a private entity for the last 2.5. So
okay, so very interesting, because virtual conferences became all the rage during COVID lockdown and all of that, and Zoom became all the rage to the majority of business people in 2020, 2021. Because of the work from home and all of this stuff. But as a professional speaker, we were using Zoom a long time before that, and consultant and coaching. But you guys were using it even before I was using it, I'm sure, along with many, many other platforms. What's it been like to watch this? I don't know if it's even a resurgence, this surge in online communication tools to run online conferences. What's it been like?
Oh, it's been a ride. The industry thought we were going to get here, but everybody thought it was going to be like a 10-year, journey. And then all of a sudden, when shutdown happened, we just fast forwarded 10 years in the future. But it's been really just fun seeing the benefit of it. I think pre-pandemic, there was a lot of feeling that it was less than. It's like, oh, you're going to attend the virtual component. Oh, you're not getting as much out of it. And they're realizing that You're not getting the same thing out of it, but doesn't mean you're getting less than the in-person audience. So that's been really interesting. And for me, my own personal victory was my father had no clue what I was doing for 15 years. I tried to explain it to him a million times. And all of a sudden, about halfway through, he's like, I understand what you do. I was on this thing called GoToMeeting, and there was a person on there making it work. And I was like, thanks, Dad. It only took 15 years and a global pandemic, but we got you there. So.
Yeah. And some of us skeptics would wonder if Zoom's business plan actually had a section for a global pandemic because their stock went through the roof.
Yeah.
I could only imagine what it was like to run your business years ago, right? 10, 12 years ago, when this was just like, I mean, were people just laughing at you with this stuff?
No, I think we were working with a lot of big corporations. So Fortune 100s that had a huge workforce, and the CEO needed to be able to talk to the workforce on video. But at the very beginning, like, it worked sometimes. It didn't always work. The bit rate or the quality of the video was very, very low. It would crash companies' networks at the beginning where you would launch the video globally and the entire company would go down temporarily. So the early days were a little, more interesting.
I love you were going to say funky or maybe broken.
We just kept it going. You're like, it's gonna be fine. But it was new tech and people were willing to go along for the ride. Nowadays, there is no tolerance for it not working.
Right.
Even the slightest buffer will result in emails and it's broken and it's not working. And you're like, well, why are you watching? They're like, oh, I'm sitting in Starbucks on Wi-Fi. You're like, well, you don't have good internet. That's why. It's not that it's not working. It's that you don't have proper internet right now. So
So let's talk about the growth of your business pre-pandemic. You didn't see this thing coming. You didn't know it was going to come out of the blue. You didn't know that demand. I mean, you're one of those companies, right? That hasn't contracted during the pandemic. You've grown because of what it is you do. You happen to be in that space. But prior to that, what was it like growing the business? I mean, you're a small business, just a short handful of people, right? 1, 2 people.
Yeah, 3 of us.
What was it like? What were the things that you were doing to garner business? I mean, how does a small business sell to a Fortune 100?
It's hard. Fortune 100s like to work with big companies. That's what they like. That's their comfort level. That's what they like to do. So we actually launched as an independent company in November of 2019. So we were just getting started when the world shut down. But our approach was really just boots to the ground. Like, let's go talk to people that know us. Let's hire sales reps. So we have a team of sales reps out there that we just pay them commission, but they're in the space, they're reselling constantly, and they have the ear of the big Fortune 100 companies. Talking to partners that we worked with for years that knew us from our previous experience, they knew that we could deliver because we've delivered in the past, that they then feel comfortable referring business to us. So it was just a lot of networking. Like, you just need to get out there and tell people, like, this is what I'm doing. It's not just updating your LinkedIn profile to be like, I have a new job. It's really just getting out there as much as possible. And when the shutdown started, we were just starting to get a lot of traction. So the timing somewhat worked out for us. And
were you constantly doing online networking before the pandemic anyway, right in the fall of 2019?
Oh, yeah. Just getting on groups. Zoom's been around for a really long time. So I would say they were less common. Now I'm on like 5 Zoom-based networking groups a week. And I find it to be a really powerful tool to just meet people from all over the world. It's wonderful.
How did you coming from that world and then launching your own business, pre-pandemic, I guess, let me ask you this question. Knowing what you know, knowing that you were facing a pandemic, not knowing what would happen with your business, would you have launched if you knew that was coming?
That's a good question. I think we were so ready to do our own thing. We saw the industry was changing rapidly, where it became less about the tech, because the tech is stable at this point. It's working. There's bad days, there's good days, but overall the tech is working. our industry was changing to be more customer service based, where people need event planners. The same way that you can plan your own wedding or you could hire a wedding planner. It's not that the tech's super complicated. It's more, why do you need to do the learning curve in order to execute? So we were seeing that shift, and I think we would have done it regardless.
Yeah, because I mean, I think
my mind too.
we don't know what we don't know as people that put on online events.
Yeah.
We think we know enough about the tech. We think we know we can just do Zoom or do StreamYard or whatever it might be, but we don't know best practices. How do we get all the people to the thing? Is it just email marketing? Is it just social media posts? Is it, influencers? What's going to drive traffic? Because I live in this world as a speaker, right? So I'm not the speaker that they book to make ticket sales happen, right? That's Bill Clinton. That's Seth Godin. That's Mike McAllowitz. Yeah. All the name people that have like a tribe that follow them and then they buy the tickets and all of that. And so I'm more about what they call a content speaker. And so I've even put on events. I put on live in-person events, numerous ones. I put on live online events. And my biggest struggle is how to get people there. And it's just like every other business owner I've talked to on this podcast in the past, which is how do I get more sales?
Yeah. And you want to get butts and seats, that's what's going to drive specifically for your type of virtual events, where it's really about getting you out there. It's a way to network and show your worth. So yeah, that's the hard part. Virtual events, there's so many little tricks to help engagement and attendance. For example, Tuesdays is the best day to put on a webinar. That's where you're going to get the most attendance. You want to do it either early in the morning or later in the afternoon. There's so many little tricks like that. You want to charge a small entry fee if you want to guarantee attendance. If you don't really care, just expect about 50% drop off.
Yeah,
the live event.
So how do you, these are the type of things you coach your clients on as an event planner. And I guess my big question is, what's the one thing you've done since launching as an independent company? What's the one thing you've done that you feel has been successful for you to gain and garner more exposure and or more clients?
I think it's really just doing what we say we're going to do. So what I mean by that is 90% of our sales now is through clients that have worked with us and have referred us. Mm-hmm. So that is a huge driver of income for us. And the only way we've been able to do that is by telling somebody like, hey, we're professionals. We know what we're doing. And you're going to trust us with something that's really important to you. An event is important to you. And if it fails, that's going to be a big problem for you. So we make sure that it is executed properly, that they leave happy, that we help them and we consult with them throughout the way. And we create a real partnership to be able to deliver. And I think if we hadn't delivered, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Talk to me about that growth, because I imagine it's been exponential during the pandemic, and you're still a very small company, right? How many people do you have? Just 2 of you, 3 of you?
We have 3 of us, and then we work with about 15 contractors that execute events.
So you do outsource currently?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what's that experience like for you? I mean, one of the things I kind of firmly believe in is that you should outsource your weaknesses, right?
Yes.
And that's what this season is all about. What are the challenges that you face around outsourcing?
There's a few. It's a lot of trust. Honestly, you're putting trust in another human being that doesn't have the same invested interest in your company as you are. Like Revent is my 3rd child. I put a lot of energy, a lot of effort. If it fails, it's my personal failure. You're putting trust in people that don't have the same invested interest and might not do it exactly the same way you would. And I think that for me at the very beginning was very challenging to let go of that and be like, it's okay. They're going to be okay. And just finding the right people, I think, is where I landed at the end. Like, not
And
blindly
and do
trusting.
you? What is your process to find the right people? I mean, do you have a vetting process? Is there any tricks of the trade that you know? Like for me, whenever I post something like in an online sort of portal to get people, I'll put like a code word in the job ad,
Oh, that's a
so
good
that
idea.
they have to. If they don't even include the code word, it means they haven't read the job ad.
That's a
And then
really good.
I don't care how great they look on paper, done in the trash. That goes. I just file it away because no attention to detail, right? They didn't put the effort in. Is there anything like that you do?
We don't do quite like that. For us, we find we sort of nail down the character traits that we need people to have in order to execute a virtual event. So that's somebody that's super calm under pressure, where if things start going wrong, because really we're there for when things start going wrong. When things start going wrong, how do they react?
Mm-hmm.
What's their customer service skill? And how easy is it to teach them? Those are the 3 skills for our technicians that are running events for us that are so vital. And if they don't have those, and you could see pretty much very quickly.
How do you test? How do you test the first one?
Sorry, what was the first
Under
one?
pressure.
Under pressure.
When things go wrong, how do they handle it? How do you test that?
Well, we often gravitate to, even if they don't have virtual technician experience, have their past job experience been, traditional event planners make great webcast technicians. Video producers make great webcast technicians. People that I've been in a stressful environment, like one of our techs used to work in fast food. That's stressful. It's somebody that needs to react quickly to a situation. And then often on the call, we do the initial interview, and then we do an initial training session. Let's train you. Let's see how you do. Even if you've never done a virtual event before, let's train you. And oftentimes you could see very, very quickly how they're going to react to something new and that's unexpected. And right away we could see if it's going to work.
I think you definitely have to test these people, whether they're employees and or contractors. You have to test them to validate that they have the skill set that you need to cover. I'll give you an example. My friend Jason Cutter is a sales coach, trainer. Whenever he hires a salesperson for a company, if he's hired by a company to hire their salespeople, one of the very first things he'll test them on at the end of the interview, he'll say, thanks for coming in. I'm not sure that this is a good fit. So I appreciate your time, and thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
And
how do people react?
He does that with every single person, right? Because what he's looking for is, can they overcome the objection?
That's an interesting test.
Are they confident in themselves, right? And overcoming the objection is one of the big skill sets in sales, especially if it's an outbound cold caller person or an inside sales rep or whatever. And so that's one of the things that he'll do. And I think that's powerful. One of the things I used to do at my web design company, when I was hiring an administrative assistant, or frankly anybody, but the example I'll give you is when I hired an administrative assistant, my office in Gardner, Mass. A person came in for the interview. We sat at the conference table. We did the whole interview. I said, okay, great. Now, if you could, on that monitor there, here's the mouse and the keyboard. If you could just open up Chrome and go to CNN.com. And I would just randomly pick a website. And right before they started, I would grab the mouse and take it away.
And see what they did.
And there were people that started looking at the keyboard and trying to figure it out. And there were people that asked me if it's possible. And then there were people that just gave up. They were like, I have no idea how I'm going to do that. And
that's a personality trait. You can't fix that or train that.
That's right. I knew that their inability or their desire to figure it out wasn't there. And that's the trait I needed.
Yeah.
Because if I say, hey, can you get this done? I'm happy to answer questions. Hey, what do you think about this? Or, hey, I'm trying to do this. Do you know how to do it? But I'm more interested in someone's desire to learn and grow by literally hammering it out on the keyboard. And most people, because they've used a mouse all their life or whatever, they have no idea that you can navigate a computer with the tab button on a keyboard.
And even I note that, but I think it would take me a minute to be like,
Yeah.
okay,
Well,
so I have a keyboard. I'll figure this out. Stand by.
yeah, exactly. And you wouldn't quit though, right? And that's the thing I was looking for is, are they going to quit on me? If they quit on me, then they were out. Because I just knew that they were going to quit on other things.
Oh.
They were going to, like, how do I do this accounts payable thing? Or how do I deal with this contact database, this CRM or something? And because I'm not there to train them on the CRM. So while they can go online and learn some stuff about the CRM, they have to be willing to navigate around and through that CRM without all of me helping them and telling them what to do all the time. And I think that's a big part of outsourcing.
It is. It's finding the right character traits. And because there's some things you could teach tech, you could teach things to somebody, but you can't change who they innately are. And if those innate characteristics aren't there, then you gotta.
What I love, I completely get that a company will outsource this project to you, right? Online virtual conferences, because they immediately know that's out of their wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But, you've outsourced.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to, because you guys can do some of the tech. Why is it important for you to outsource?
So that we can grow. Simple as that. There's only 3 of us. So at some points in the pandemic, we had days where we had 15 overlapping events, all congruent. So the choice is then, do we say no to these clients and say we are booked and that limits our growth potential? Or do we find the right people? And since we've been in this space for a long time, we already knew a lot of people that were doing this. So it was like, and we knew them from years of it, like just working with them and all these things. So we knew the people we could reach out to quickly and be like, hey, we're growing really, really fast. This is what is needed so that we could continue. And I think if we hadn't done that in the early months, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Are there other things in your business that you outsource other than the sort of tech management of stuff?
We work. So a lot of, for hybrid events, we need a lot of AV equipment. So, cameras, switchers, screens, the whole shebang. We own some equipment, but we work with a lot of local crew partners that, again, because we've been in the space for a long time, we have contacts that we could tap into so that we don't have to fly with, an HD giant camera in the bag,
right.
All those things. Like, hey, you need a crew in LA, got a guy. And then we work with those people that we've worked with for a long time that we've vetted, that we make sure are going to execute properly to make sure the event goes flawlessly.
And what about your marketing and graphic design, website, bookkeeping, all the ugly stuff about running a business? Do you outsource any of that stuff?
I have a bookkeeper that helps me unmessify my, I'm going to be politically correct on this one. That's another word normally I use, my books when I mess it up. So we have somebody we have a lawyer, we have an accountant for taxes, those types of things. We do have an SEO person that I think that's a viable, like that's something you really need in any growing business is how are you searchable, those types of things. But yeah, we outsource as we grow, and specifically when we see that we have a failure in knowledge. Like we have a payroll company. I don't know how to run payroll. Do you know how to run payroll? No. So you're going to find a trusted, again, we vetted a bunch of vendors. We want to make sure it was right and found one that had a good personality fit with us and was well recommended. Mostly because they laughed at my jokes on the first call. I was like, I like you.
Do you find it difficult to let go?
Sometimes. Depends on what it is.
Is that because it's your 3rd child?
It's my 3rd child, yeah. But
at some point the child needs to leave the nest, right?
Exactly. Well, my preteen is telling me that on one hand, so I'm assuming my business eventually will tell me the same thing. Like, it's time, Mom. You can let me go. But over the last 2.5 years, we've already started to let go of things that if you had told me week 2 that I was letting go of, I'd be like, "Are you crazy?"
Yeah.
There's no way.
Bookkeeping is right. Like literally, because like everybody feels like the bookkeeping is the numbers. It's the bank account and all that stuff. And it's not really all of that stuff, but it seems to, in small business ownership, it seems to all run together. So it freaks people out a lot of times.
It does. And, you're giving a lot of very personal information to somebody else. Like they have access to your entire business. And, Schitt's Creek might happen to you. Like all of a sudden, all the money's gone and you have to move into a tiny town. So who knows? There's a lot of trust with the bookkeeper, but I adore mine. She's wonderful.
Yeah. So a couple questions I like to ask our guests when they're on the podcast and that will help our listeners on, on the podcast app they're listening to or watching on YouTube. And that is, the first one is, what business book would you recommend that a business owner read?
You're putting me on the spot right now.
Have you read some?
Can I be perfectly honest?
That's what we do here.
I don't read business books.
Do you listen to audiobooks?
I don't really listen to. I'm not a big self-helper kind of person. Where I get my advice from is talking to business, like networking, talking. Like one of our clients is a C-level suite executive coach.
Mm-hmm.
I pick his brain all the time. Whenever he's running an event, I'm on it because I think that's really interesting. I'm more of a real-time learner. So I wish I could recommend a business book. If you had told me ahead of time, I would have Googled one. But in this case,
no, I don't want those answers.
I have to admit, I've never, in my personal life and in my business life, I've never been propelled to read those types of things. But
cool.
They help a lot.
So in lieu of having one, then we'll just recommend my book, More Word of Mouth.
Matt's book, my favorite, the high five effect.
Yeah. The next question I like to ask people is, what piece of software in your business, not specific to your business, but to running a business, what piece of software could you not live without?
Zoom.
Yeah.
Could you live without Zoom now?
I don't know. I don't know if I could. I mean, at some point, I don't want to be on Zoom anymore. I kind of feel like that a little bit.
Oh, Zoom burnout. We could talk about Zoom burnout all day. I got a bunch of tips for you that could help. But I don't know how you would run a business without Zoom or email, actually, for that matter. Remember back in the day when you'd have to write a letter and then they would get back to you 3 weeks later? Like, how could we move at the speed that we're moving today without these tools? So it's just. Yeah,
it's so interesting because back when all that came about, what was it, the early 90s, BlackBerry was all the rage.
Yes, with the flashing red light.
Yeah, and I had a BlackBerry Storm. It was one of the first touch screen ones, and just recently BlackBerry ceased operations.
Oh, and they totally stopped? I thought they were still going.
Yeah, they totally stopped. Yeah, and so when you think about the evolution of a business, I mean, they didn't evolve, just like Blockbuster didn't evolve, And there's countless stories about how Blockbuster had the opportunity to buy Netflix and refused.
Which is nuts. Yeah. They would still be here.
It's like, I feel like Blockbuster is the last of the Mohicans. This is hanging around,
We're trying. I think the last I saw, they were selling puzzles of movie posters.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So, hey, whatever works. But
how the mighty have fallen.
I mean, that was my entire childhood. Fridays in the 90s. Go fight with your siblings in Blockbusters as to what movie you're getting, and then order like Domino's.
Yeah.
All of the 90s.
And if you were late or didn't rewind, remember, be kind, rewind.
Be kind and rewind.
And that, those tapes actually invented a whole nother product, the tape rewinder.
Oh,
that
really?
machine that you would put it in, you would put a VHS tape into an actual machine that would rewind the thing.
Wow.
And that's all it did.
That poor guy's out of business.
Yeah, for sure. Really great conversation about growth and outsourcing. I love this type of stuff, especially when it comes to, online event stuff and really intriguing. If people want to get a hold of you and learn more about you, network with you, Julie, or even find more about Revent and what it is you guys do and how you might be able to help them, how would they get in touch with you?
The best way is via email. So my email address is julie@revent.consulting. And then you can always go to our website, which is revent.consulting. We're on all the social media channels. If you want to laugh every once in a while, I tend to go a little nutty on Instagram. But you could always check us out or give me a call, 347-439-9166. Always happy to help. And any person trying to do a hybrid or virtual event, first hour of our time is free. Talk to us.
There you go.
Pick
there
our
you
brain.
go. And I would recommend that you take a little bit of that time and talk to her about baking sourdough bread. She seems to know a lot about that from the intro I heard.
I love baking sourdough bread. So for all you sourdough bakers
I'll
out
send
there.
you my address. Oh, I love it. These are the types of conversations we want to have. This is why I wrote the High Five Effect. You want to surround yourself with awesome people that make you smile and have a good time. Folks, don't forget to do that. Don't forget to follow us on all the social channels at Mass Business Podcast. All the things are in the screen and on the show notes. And we really would love to have some followers and some subscribers over on YouTube, and make sure that you like and hit the notification button over there. And that way you'll get notified when we put up all the episodes. And obviously, we ask for 4 or 5 star ratings. You can give us a 1-star rating. Even that's better than a no-star rating, I guess. I don't know. But you should give us a 5-star rating on the podcast platform because, it's the High Five Effect. So as I always like to say, thank you so much, Julie, for coming on the show. We greatly appreciate it. I'm excited to have you on. And folks, don't forget to live happy, smile a lot, and high five everyone around you.
I'm waking up this morning, gonna grab myself a smile.
Thank you for listening to the Mass Business Podcast, where we focus on growing a small business and understanding networking and referrals. Don't forget to like on your favorite platform and share out this podcast. This show has been produced by Heather Grant, music by Celtic Kelly, all rights reserved. I'm your host, professional speaker, author, and word-of-mouth referral consultant, Matt Ward. Don't forget to live happy, smile a lot, and high five everyone around you.
Feeling alright. High five the world. Yeah, yeah, yeah. High five the world. Make a difference today. High five the world. What a thing to say. Do you feel what I'm telling you? There's really nothing to